The Man of Steel, alongside a handful of other DC characters, have been getting through a rough patch recently with the whole DC Extended Universe films getting mixed receptions and all. And with 3 Supermen now having been seen on the silver screen, 5 if you're counting the film, serial, and independent movie ones, fans around the world are just about getting exhausted of seeing the same characters being rebooted again and again. But anyways, you've read the title. In this video, we will be pitting one of the famous originals, Christopher Reeve's Superman, versus modern day's take on the Son of Krypton. I have to add though, if it isn't clear already, that this video is not meant to argue which actor is a better actor, or bash one or the other. This is purely meant for entertainment with the sole purpose of determining which fictional character would win in a fictional fight. So, saying that one should have points deducted towards the end just because of the overuse of digitally rendered graphics and CGI won't be taken into consideration. All of this is fake. So yeah, if you're still butthurt about your favorite actor not winning, shoot me. With all that being said, I think I have to clear one more thing up. Christopher Reeve had 4 Superman films, whereas Cavill had just 2 at the time of this video's release, Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. But since we are going by the character's canon, we will also be counting in Brandon Routh's version of the character from the 2006 film Superman Returns. This is because his Superman was technically a sequel, or some kind of soft reboot, to Christopher Reeve's incarnation. They're different actors for sure, but they're supposedly supposed to be the same Superman. Alrighty then. Time for the actual video. To measure both of the Man of Steel's powers, we will analyze each of their strength, speed, durability, intellect, and abilities. So the first category is up. Part of what makes Superman super is his super strength. Both Supermen have showed phenomenal superhuman strength. Cavill's version was able to lift part of a collapsing oil rig and a rocket ship, and Reeves/Routh's, let's just call him Reeve-Routh for this video, has balanced antennae and stopped airplanes from exploding into a bloody oblivion. And they all look pretty smexy. But while Cavill's did lift a giant rocket ship that weighed in at around 82.5 tons, Reeve-Routh's was able to lift an entire island. To help you visualize what that means, let's try relating it to the things in the real world. In an article by Stack.com, a human at peak physical condition should be able to lift about twice his normal body weight. Henry Cavill weighed about 203 pounds during filming, so that would mean in the real world, Cavill should be able to lift around 406 pounds. And paraphrasing what Matt Pat said from the Film Theory channel, dividing the rocket's weight by 406 pounds gives us the amount of times stronger Cavill's Superman is relative to a highly athletic human. Connecting the dots shows us that Cavill's Superman is about 406 times stronger than your average powerlifter. Now for Reeve-Routh's turn. The island he lifted was so big that it looked like the size of Manhattan, if not more. According to Thrillist.com, the real-life Manhattan City would weigh over 2 million tons, though the writers of the article included the weights of the place's population and cars and such. But even if you take away 1 million tons from that, that still makes this Superman around 5 million times stronger than your top athlete. That's 5 million compared to Cavill's 406. And that isn't even taking into account the millions of gallons of water that was still part of the island as he was lifting it. This was presumably near each of their maximum potentials too, as they both put on uber poopy faces as they struggle to keep the overwhelming weights up. So yeah, as muscly and mighty as Cavill is, Reeve and Routh curb stomp him in terms of pure brute strength. Quickness is an integral part in a one-on-one matchup, especially amongst combatants with abilities that allow them to move faster than the speed of sound. So, how fast are these Supermen? Well, let's start with Cavill again. In Batman v Superman Dawn of Justice, a newly charged Superman was able to travel from just outside of Earth's atmosphere to Earth's surface in about 51 seconds, which is a distance of about 300 miles. This means that a recently solar-charged Cavill Superman could exceed speeds over 21,176 miles per hour, or 27.5 times the speed of sound. That's pretty impressive, but Reeve-Routh's version was able to go much faster. In Reeve's first debut as Superman in the 1978 film Superman, the Man of Steel was so enraged by him being unable to save Lois Lane from death, he was able to do the impossible and turn back time by spinning the Earth in the opposite direction. It took him a while to accelerate to his top speed, but regardless, it was about 0.2 seconds to travel around the world. Well, the Earth has a circumference of 24,901 miles, meaning a fully enraged Reeve-Routh is capable at moving at 448,218,000 miles per hour, almost 70% the speed of light. That's ridiculous. It takes about 13 milliseconds for the brain to register what the human eye sees. So, if an object were to ever go past you with that speed, by the time you would have noticed it, if you were able to register it at all, that object would already be 1,619 miles past you. That's roughly half of the distance of the United States from west to east. It's no doubt that Reeve and Routh win this category. Dishing out punches is one thing, but taking them in is another. In Man of Steel, Superman has shown to be able to withstand being thrown through several skyscrapers and managing to walk out unscathed like nothing happened. And Reeve-Routh's Superman took a slap to the face and a tickle to the neck and died. Well, he didn't actually die, it's just... I mean, come on, that's it. And not only that, Cavill's has also survived supersonic punches so powerful that the shockwaves caused some displacements in the air around them. You can argue that Reeve and Routh didn't showcase these kinds of feats because of their inferior technology back then, but this is a fight based off of imaginary heroes, so we're just gonna ignore that. Henry Cavill easily takes this one. Pure wit can take one a long way and help him or her escape out of trouble in desperate times. Both Supermen have shown some sense of higher IQ level in some way. In fact, this is one of the tougher categories, because none of these characters actually seem that much superior in terms of intelligence. I mean, the best thing that we can analyze is that they both almost willingly screwed up on saving the world before. Cavill quote-unquote accidentally brought the Faora fight from an unpopulated area to a vastly populated one in a matter of seconds. And Reeve Routh Superman could have saved everyone from the property damage in the original 1978 film Superman. But out of a fit of rage, he only did the minimum amount of spins to get Lois Lane back from the dead. Which means that a few more spins around the globe, and he could have prevented the earthquake as a whole, warned people about the impending doom, and ended up saving millions of lives. Looking at both of the scenarios in general, they both revolved around the concept of rage. Cavill's character's instincts for his mother kicked in, and Reeve Routh's care for Lois was too overwhelming for him to deal with. It wasn't smart for Cavill's to bring the fight to innocent civilians, and it wasn't smart for Reeve Routh's to not rewind time further back. None of it was intentional, it was just a willing act of rage that heavily impacted their responsibilities. But being irresponsible for your responsibilities is an unintelligent thing to do in itself. Sure, you can argue that rage control and intellect aren't actually the same thing, but you know what? I don't get paid enough for this shit. If I had to pick who willingly screwed up more, I'd have to say Reeve Routh had the worst end of things. Hear me out on this one. So at the end of the original 1978 Superman film, once Superman had turned back time and saved Lois Lane, he just completely ignored the existence of the earthquake itself. It looked relatively sunny outside, so let's say the time Lois died was about 3 PM or so, which means Superman, after saving Lois Lane, had maybe another 9 hours to reconsider going back a few more minutes from when Lois died. 9 hours! He could have calmed down after Lois was safe and sound, and actually thought about saving everyone else. Cavill's probably wanted to get the fight away from the civilians the moment he realized there were innocent bystanders in the vicinity. After all, he did say,
"You okay?"
And he did save this jet fighter from getting taken down by Faora. Granted, Superman did tackle her into a restaurant with innocent customers, and the pilot that was saved probably died moments later by an angry Faora. But you win some, you lose some. People make mistakes, that's cool. The point is, Superman here still tried to put people first, but the Reeve Routh version completely forgot about the civilians. He could have been all like, "Oh jinkies, I better get on rescuing the world like white on rice." That way, he could save almost everyone else and Lois Lane. But no, he just ditched everyone else. Seeing how aware Cavill is of his surroundings and situations, and how Reeve Routh is not, Cavill's Superman could potentially use something in the environment that could help him in ensuring a victory in battle. This one goes to Cavill. Remember that island I brought up earlier in the strength category? Yeah, well, I forgot to mention that that massive block was constructed internally out of kryptonite, the one thing that's supposed to kill Superman. And the Reeve Routh Superman's absurd powers don't end there either. He has shown to be able to rewind time as stated earlier, throw probably an infinite amount of cellophane S's from his S logo, wipe someone's memory clean through a kiss, and rebuild a wall by merely looking at it. Yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me either. Believe me, Cavill does have a very unique skill set of his own, such as a much higher speed fighting experience, but if Reeve Routh just keeps spamming his cellophane toss, Cavill would probably just end up rage quitting. Reeve Routh's bizarre powers gave him the trophy on this one. Here's the scoreboard and end results. In the end, this may seem like barely a competition, but one thing I barely touched on is Cavill's fighting style. Sure, in regards to speed in general, Reeve Routh takes the cake, but they have never shown to use that speed at all in combat. Whereas Cavill's does in almost every single fight we have seen him from his films. And while he obviously doesn't go faster than the speed of light, it's still relatively much faster than the Reeve Routh fight scenes. This fight could go either way. But Christopher Reeve and Brandon Routh's Superman belong from a different time. A time where Superman essentially had no limits and could do anything super the writers wanted him to do just because he had the name Super in his name. Cavill's modern day take is ultimately an entirely different character, one that's been power scaled down so much so that regular movie watching audiences can relate to him. That's the whole point between these two different interpretations of the character. Reeve and Routh's character isn't meant to lose or be the relatable one, and Cavill's is. So by power features alone, the winner of this versus video is Christopher Reeve's and Brandon Routh's Superman. Let me know who you'd like to see next in a versus video. There are still some confusions about what I mean by versus video. I only do mirror matchups from movies or TV shows, not really any other source of media other than that. What I mean is like 2007 Ghost Rider versus Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider. Not like Darkseid or Thanos or Green Lantern versus Spider-Man or something. I may cross movie universes sometime later with superheroes with similar powers, like the MCU Thor versus the DCEU Shazam, but that won't be anytime in the near future. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. You guys returning for each of my videos is truly amazing. If you sincerely like this video, then please be sure to hit that like and subscribe button. Also, consider following me on my Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram accounts. And for more of my videos, just click right here.